Hey guys, Brent Abernathy. Welcome to the Family First Life Gulf Coast New Agent Training Call on Thursday. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. I enjoyed seeing a good number of you men and women at convention down in Miami last week. And coming off a convention, it looks like we've got all kinds of agents asking a bunch of questions. Filling out the form on the new agent email message that goes out and asking questions. So again, today I was just going to do a question and answer because we got a bunch of good ones to try and help you guys out. So the first one is from Mason E. And Mason asks, which companies to use to best serve my client, when to pivot to the next best company for my client, and how to navigate through all the different types of companies and their quoting software for my clients. So there's a lot in that. Number one, just in regards to the quoting software and stuff like that, I mean, just spend a few minutes the night before you go running your first appointments and just make sure you know how to log on to the quoting software for each of the companies. It's pretty simple. I mean, I'm about the least technologically savvy person there is, and I was able to figure it out. So just get on, play with it, do some dummy applications, some dummy quotes. So that way it's not the first time you've run a quote when you're in front of somebody. It just takes a few minutes, mess with each one of them. It's pretty simple. You just put in the client's age, typically the amount of coverage, the product, this, that, and the other, and boom, it'll spit out the premium for them. So that takes care of that. As far as which companies to best, to use, basically, and this is something that a lot of new agents get hung up on is they feel like they have to know everything. We've got unbelievable amounts of different companies and products and all that stuff that you have at your disposal. Okay. But what I always, was taught and feel good about is get good at selling one or two things before you try and get good at selling everything, right? So my focus in every home would be Americo, okay? Americo. If it's a term policy, Americo term 125. If it's a whole life policy, a final expense, Americo Eagle Premier, okay? That would be my number one option in every single home, okay? Now, I know that I've got contracts and I know how to access Mutual of Omaha's e-app. I know how to access Aetna's e-app. I know how to access Prosperity and how to access AIG, right? So I just access that stuff. I know it's there. I know I have it at my disposal, but I'm going to be focusing on America when I go inside a house. Now, here's the other thing, and this is probably the most important thing. Just go get in front of the people, find out about their situation, get them to paint the picture as far as what's going to happen if they don't come home tomorrow. If they die tomorrow, what do things look like for their family? And then call the agent hotline, right? Call the agent hotline. If you don't know, call the person that brought you into this business, or call the agent hotline. And basically you just say to the client, you just say, hey, they just changed some of the pricing and products on this. I want to make sure we get you set up in the perfect thing for you at the lowest cost. Let me call our product specialist real quick. And you just call the agent hotline. That number, 1-888-545-3511. Okay, that agent hotline number is on the Gulf Coast weekly email that goes out every Sunday. You call that, it'll ring 9 or 10 different top producers. And you can let them know, hey, I'm sitting with John and Mary. Here's their health situation, right? Make sure before you make that phone call that you find out what their health situation is, what they've been through in the past, what they're dealing with now, what medications they're on, things like that. So now when you call the agent hotline or you call your mentor from inside a house, they know what product the client will get covered by, get approved for. So, but don't spend your time trying to figure all that stuff out before you go see people, right? Just go see people. And I promise you, you get in front of 100 people, within a span of about 4 or 5 weeks, you will learn product very quickly. Okay. So that's by far and away the best way to do it. Next question is, from Tadrick H. How do I overcome clients who don't remember sending in instant internet requests? I've run into that situation a few different times. So first and foremost, know this, that like I can't half remember what I did this morning, right? And so it is a real possibility that they might have filled out some stuff online a few days beforehand. They don't remember. Okay. The reality of it is they did it. Okay. That's all we need to know. They did it. And they're looking for help with life insurance. Okay. So if they're on the phone and they say, I don't remember filling that out, my response would be, okay, well, are you still at the 123 Main Street that's listed on this form? They'll say yes. And I'll say, okay, and your birthday is 9/23 of 55, right? And they'll say yes. And I'll say, okay, cool. Well, it's got to be you. Not a big deal one way or the other. I just got to deliver this information out there to you since it ended up on my desk, so we don't have to continue calling you. When will you be around tomorrow, morning or afternoon? All I'm trying to do is find a time where they'll be at home. Okay. So I'm going to roll right through it. I'm going to agree with them and just roll right through it. No big deal. I just got to get this stuff to you so we don't have to continue calling you. Okay. Book the appointment. Now, when I'm in person, everything's all the magic happens when you're in front of somebody. So now you get there and they say, yeah, well, what's this for? I don't remember doing this, whatever. I'd be like, I'm going to answer a question. I'm not going to give them complete control. So I'm going to say something to the effect of, well, I don't know exactly what you were looking for, but most people, when they fill this out, they're concerned when they die, they want to make sure their family's not financially burdened and doesn't have to come out of pocket paying 10, 15, $20,000 worth of costs. Is it the same way for you? Is that something you were worried about too? A lot of times they'll say yes. Okay. If they continue to play that game of, well, I don't remember it, or I'm not looking for any of that. Okay, cool. So let me just ask you this. What do you have in place that if you die tomorrow, what's there to take care of your family? Now I'm going to try and get into the conversation with them about other policies that they have. They might say, well, I've already got that taken care of. Okay, perfect. Most of the people we help already has something in place as well. So go grab that real quick. Let me see if we can save you any money like we've been able to do with a lot of people here lately. Go grab it real quick. Let me take a quick look at it. If we can, great. If not, no big deal. But now I'm in that conversation. So to answer the question, Tadrick, just roll right through it. Try and book the appointment. Find a time when they're going to be at home. Show up with a big smile on your face, and get them to paint that picture again. What's going to happen? Because even though they might not remember filling it out, they did, and something clicked that caused them to fill out the form. And what our job is we've got to bring that urgency, and we've got to bring that thing back to the forefront of their mind by the questions we ask, by the pictures we get them to paint. So hope that helps. That's a good question. You're buying, this one is from Aaron F. You're buying your first batch of leads. You can only afford to spend $500. What types of leads and how much should you buy of each to maximize your money? If that's the case, what I would do, and Aaron, that's a great question. That's something we get a lot. And I would just say, if it's $500, I would go ahead and buy some leads. If it's, hey, I can only afford $100, I would say save your money. Don't buy leads, save your money, go try and drum up a policy through your network of people, through warm market, through somebody at church, write a policy on somebody you know, and then take the money, the commissions that you make from that to invest back into leads. Because I think if you're only buying, say, $100 worth of leads, you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay. But if you've got $500 to spend, what I would do, especially being a new agent, I always believed in, I'd rather have quantity, right? The biggest quantity I can have, because you're going to make some mistakes as new agents. You're going to fumble your words on the phone or whatever. And you'd rather have that be on a $5 lead or a $10 lead as opposed to a $70 brand new mortgage protection lead. Okay. So you have $500. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, you can get basically 50 internet leads, instant internet or new internet life leads. You get 50 of those. Okay. Now the reality of it is you're not going to book appointments with a ton, all of those. Okay. That's the expectations. We know that going in. So, but what we've got to do is we've got to, as a new agent, we've got to take that investment of $500 and how am I going to turn this $500 into $1,000? And then how am I going to do the same thing next week and turn the $500 into $1,500? Now I'm starting to build up my cash flow every single week. So now I have more money to put into leads every single week. And all you've got to do to do that really is if you get 50 leads, if you find a way to make 2 sales out of 50 leads, you're creating positive cash flow, which gives you the more opportunity the following week to get in front of more clients, get on the phone with more clients, get better, get your skill set better, get your activity level up. And as a new agent, you've got to go into it with the mindset of every single lead I get is a brand new opportunity. If they don't pick up the phone, if you've called them hundreds of times and they don't pick up the phone, just go knock on their door. It's a hustle early on. It's like everything you can possibly do to generate that positive cash flow and turn that 500 into more than 500. That's the only goal initially. How can I turn that into more than 500 so the next week I can do the same thing? And it can't be a situation where you get 50 leads and you dial each one of them once and you say, hey, I can't get anybody to answer the phone. No, it's got to be, calling those leads over and over and over again, knocking on their doors, you got to go get it, go make it happen. But with 50 chances, you have a lot better chance of success having, say, 50 chances with $500 as opposed to, if you get brand new direct mail, you only get, say, 10 chances or, 12 chances or whatever. Now it's like you're sitting on pins and needles every time you're talking to somebody because you feel like you've invested so much in that lead. Whereas, when you get 50 of them, it's like, hey, if somebody tells you to go buzz off, just crumple it up, throw it aside, and boom, start dialing the next lead. And you can go door knock that person, that told you no on the phone or whatever. So that's what I would do. Aaron, good question. It's one we do get a lot, but the big thing is just get some. Don't overthink it. Just get some. All leads work if you work. It's just the expectations. Again, it's like if you buy if you buy 300 $3 leads, well, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to make more phone calls. Those leads, have been around for a while. It's not a big deal. It's the focus and the goal is how can we double that investment? How can we triple that investment? And as time goes on, when your skill set catches up, you'll be quadrupling, 5 times in that and helping a bunch of families, out of that shorter stack of leads, if that makes any sense. So Kayla C asks, what is important to include when setting goals? What are some examples of goals you have set and achieved, and how did you track it? I love this question, Kayla. Goals are important. If you don't have goals, if you don't have a direction of where you're trying to go, I mean, how the heck are you going to get there? So to me, I think the biggest mistake that I think new agents make is twofold. Number one, they don't set goals and they just kind of fly by the seat of their pants and whatever happens. But the second thing is they set goals. Like, for instance, if they were setting a goal today, they might say, well, I'm going to write 20 applications in the month of February. Like, they set a monthly goal, right? And what I would suggest is, yes, it's good to have, like, say, monthly goals, but I think it's good to have shorter goals too, right? Like, how many dials am I gonna make today? Or how many no's am I gonna get? Even better than on, like, say, on dial days, a little trick, instead of saying how many dials am I gonna make, how many no's am I gonna get? Or how many applications am I gonna write this week? Right. And if you set that standard in your own mind, hey, come heck or high water, I'm going to write 5 applications this week, then most of the time you will figure out how to write 5 applications, but do it in shorter increments. Okay. And yes, I think it's great to have yearly goals and, all that stuff, but I would work my way up, like every single person on this call. Um, Everybody's capable of going and writing 20, 30 applications every single month and helping a bunch of families, 20, 30 families every single month. Now you're going to have to work. You're going to have to put in the work to do that. But to me, I think it's better to break it down. Okay, so if I want to help 20 families in a month, I'm going to break it down on a weekly basis. Like, I got to get, my break even point, like my drop dead goal every single week is I have to write at least 5 applications this week, right? That's going to put me on pace for that 20 per month. Kayla. So that's what I would do. I would write them down. I would keep them in front of you at all time on your, on your dashboard while you're riding around in a car, on your mirror at home. So that way, when you brush your teeth, get ready for bed, you wake up in the morning, same deal. It's right there in front of you. And then when you achieve that goal, boom. Now it's like, instead of 5 applications a week, it's like, all right, now my goal, I have to write 7. I can't stop working until I write 7 applications in a week, which that'll translate into 28 applications in a month. More families help, the better you're going to do, obviously, for your own family, providing for your own family. So, but have goals, have achievable goals, have stretch goals, right? But keep them, I think, especially earlier on, the shorter, set your goals also early on, more based on activity than results. Okay. You can control your activity. So any goals you set, I would set them based on, hey, I'm going to do X amount of activity today. I'm going to knock on 10 doors today while I'm out in the field in between my appointments. The results will follow as your skill set catches up. Okay. But set your goals based on activity early on. I think that really helps. That was a good question, Kayla. Kayla actually has a lot of questions on here. This is also from Kayla. Everyone keeps saying it's all about the numbers. You have to figure out your numbers. Can you go more in depth of what that means and how to do that? Maybe an example. Okay. So, like, for me, my number when I was in the field was, I wasn't anything special. I'm not now, and I never claimed to be. I just saw as many families as I could. And so my average application count per day I was in the field was somewhere around 2.5 applications per day, per run day in the field. So obviously it's pretty simple. If I know that, then it's like, if I want to write 10 applications in a week, well, I need to, excuse me, I need to run 4 full days in the field. That will net me 10 applications, somewhere around that, right? Now, by knowing this, and each person's different. We have people in the group that, their average app day might be 4. Okay. And as a new agent, your average app day might be lower than, it might be 1.5. Okay. Again, as your skill set gets better, your app count per day goes up. But it's being able to break that down and understand that gave me confidence. When I was in the field, it kept me off of that roller coaster. which is very important, kept me from being emotional about my business, right? Because if I went out and I had a day where I had a bunch of no-shows or had a rough day in the field, where let's say I didn't write any applications, it wasn't, yes, I hated the fact I didn't protect any families that day, but it didn't it didn't crush me because I knew the numbers. And I was like, okay, well, there's a real good chance that I'm going to go out tomorrow and I'm going to write 4 or 5 applications and help 4 or 5 families to make up for what happened the day before. That's just the way the business works out. As long as you're consistently doing the activity, those numbers always even out and balance out. So that's what that means, Kayla. Again, for me, I used to use, 2.5 was my number. And, again, as a newer agent, it might take you 4 days, 4 full days to write 6 applications, and that's okay. But if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. But just break it down in that way, and know that they always work out when you see enough people. And look, full time, if you're working full time with us, and 25 to 30 appointments is should be your goal. Okay, because those numbers typically, it's kind of like a coin flip if they're going to work out or not. If you're only booking 10 appointments in a week, okay, you're living very dangerously on the edge. Those numbers don't typically, but the larger those numbers are and more consistent those numbers are of large numbers, the more you'll see that they always work out in that regard. So, and they always even out. So, another one from Kayla C. What are some ways to stay focused during dial days? It's a hard one because I think you have to look yourself in the mirror. You have to ask yourself what your why is. Why is it that you're doing what you're doing? Because the mundane part of what we do is dial days. And so how are you going to make sure you continue to stay focused? You continue to dial, continue. That's where we set up our whole week. As far as how many families we protect, it's all done on dial day. So, by basically, if we don't protect our dial time, we're setting ourselves up for a roller coaster type of week. So you have to make sure on dial days that you're not distracted. I don't know, Kayla, if you're somewhere close to where there's an office, I would get into an office space. If you're not somewhere close where you can get into an office, find a spot in your home where it's nice and quiet, and you don't have any distractions. If for some reason you can't, if you have all kinds of stuff going on in your house, and heck, I know plenty of people that go sit in their car just to dial. They shut the door, they shut the windows, turn the air conditioner on, and boom, they just start dialing in their car, and they sit there until they get their appointments booked. People go to a park where they just start rolling through the leads. You got to do whatever it is that you need to do. So that eliminates the distractions. The part about staying focused, that's something that's on you. And it's very easy to get distracted if you're around your house, because and I did this myself when I was brand new. I'd work for 45 minutes and I'd get up and I'd be like, oh, I need to go do the laundry or go do the dishes, or, oh, let's turn Sports Center on for the, 5th time today, or whatever. And before you know it, you look up and an hour's passed, and you're just killing away. You're eating away at your efficiency and your productivity. And you're just dragging it out. You're taking all day to dial instead of dialing all day. So I would attack dial days with a focus. And I changed my mindset on dial days of, now it's like, boom, 8 o'clock, I'm on the phone, hitting send, boom, 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 over and over, right? And my goal on dial day is how quickly can I get done? How quickly can I get done? Now, some days you might be done by 11 in the morning. Some days you might have to dial until 7:38 at night. I don't know. I just know my goal and my mindset is how quickly can I get done? I'm not letting anything else get in the way. This is my dial day. This is my work time. There is nothing else that's going to get in the way of this time, because I know the second I let a distraction come in front of me and get in between me and my dial time, the easier it's going to be the next time for that to happen. So you have to have those boundaries, and I think if you have a good why, and being able to protect these families and provide for your own, if you have a good why, that will keep you focused on what you need to focus on, because dial day is by far and away the most important day of your week, of your production week, as far as helping families. So good question. And then this is the last one I'll do today. This one is from Casey. I'm new here and I have no idea where to even start. What are some pointers for complete newbies? You're never going to know everything. Okay. You're going to learn something new every single day, Casey. So my biggest pointer to you is let's go. Create activity now. Like, start talking to people about life insurance now. Get leads in your hand, get on the phone, make mistakes, call your mentor. Hey, this is what they're saying. How can I get better? Start talking to warm market people about life insurance, people you know. Start knocking on doors. Create a massive amount of activity. Okay. Don't get so caught up, as I mentioned earlier. Don't get so caught up in knowing all the products or any of that sort of stuff. Just start creating activity, because it's easy. Like, if you've ever tried to steer a parked car, you can't steer a parked car, right? But as soon as you put that car into drive, it can be steered. And that's the biggest thing with a new agent, that it's like, I can't help you. I can't make you better. I can't do course corrections with you until you go out and just start creating massive amounts of activity. Now you got a cross section of what people have said, what your in-homes have looked like, all that sort of stuff. Like I said, we'll be there to help while you're inside the home. Call the agent hotline, right? But you got to go start. Okay. Don't keep yourself from getting started by thinking you have to know a whole bunch of stuff. No, it's life insurance. It's going to pay out if they die. They requested the help. And even if they didn't, even if it's a warm market person, get good at creating conversations about life insurance with those people. Maybe they have policies that we can put them in a better position. And if not, the worst case, what's the worst thing that can happen from it? You've had a conversation about life insurance and you've looked at their policies, and maybe they got a great policy, and I hope they do. And boom, but at least you've progressed, you've gotten better. So Casey, create massive amounts of activity, income producing activity. Okay. Yes. Watching all kinds of videos, listening to training, doing all that stuff. It is very valuable and very important. Okay. But create income producing activities as quick as possible and as much as possible. That means on the telephone, dialing leads. That means knocking on doors. That means sitting in front of clients. That means having conversations with warm market about life insurance. Those are income producing activities. Like, let's get moving. The company Family First Life, one of the biggest mottos we've lived by from day one is move fast and break things. Okay. Just get started. That's the number one piece of advice I could give you. Dive in. Create activity. It's not going to be perfect right away. No big deal. We'll correct it as you go, but just start creating that massive amount of activity as quickly as possible. So, guys, I hope this helps. Thanks for the questions. It's helpful. We're not mind readers, and it's helpful to get a sense of what you guys need and what sort of questions we can answer to help you guys. So continue filling out those questions, those question forms as things come up. We will continue to have some guests on here as new agents get out in the field. And again, enjoyed seeing a lot of you guys this past week at conference, and let's make it a great day. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if we can do anything to help. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.